Hi everybody, my name is Annie and this is
Teacher Jill.
And we want to welcome you to the Kids Connection. Today is really special because Teacher Jill is going to tell us about a time when the sun stopped shining. And next week is really special too because it's Easter and we want to invite all of you to come on the second service at 11 o'clock because we have something really special that's going to happen. All right, I'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye. I'm so glad you're here with us today. This is Teacher Jill, and I'm going to be talking about the day the sun stopped shining. As you remember, several weeks ago, we studied the triumphal entry of Jesus into Jerusalem. But unfortunately, he was betrayed by his friends, Judas, for 30 pieces of silver and a kiss. Then the Roman soldiers came and took Jesus away. And they bullied Jesus and they said, "You are the king of the Jews. You're going to need a crown." So they made one of thorns and placed it on his head. And they took a robe and threw it on him. And they made a parade of it, and they pretended to bow down, and they mocked him and jeered him, and they beat him and spat upon him and used a whip and beat his body. The Roman soldiers made a sign to continue mocking Jesus, and on it they said, "Jesus, King of the Jews." And they placed that on a wooden cross, and then that wooden cross was handed to Jesus, and he was walking through the streets of Jerusalem with this heavy cross on his back. When they got to a high hill called Golgotha, they nailed Jesus to the cross. Jesus had never done anything wrong, but they were going to kill him the way all criminals were killed. And they nailed him to the cross, and as they did so, Jesus cried out, "Abba, Papa, forgive them, for they know not what they do." The people gathered at the foot of the cross, and there they were heard shouting, "You can save yourself. You say you can save others, but you can't rescue yourself." But they were wrong. Actually, he could have uttered one word and made it all stop. And he could have used his power, the same power that he used in his ministry among the people, where he restored sight to a blind man, or turned the loaves and fishes into meals for 5,000, or when, with a single word, he calmed the angry sea and said, "Peace, be still." But he stayed. He stayed on that cross, and they did not understand. Kids, while surely the nails pierced Jesus' hands and feet, it wasn't really the nails that kept him on that cross. It was love. Love for you and love for me. Then Jesus cried out, "Papa, Papa, where are you?" And he looked up to the heavens. "Don't leave me." And for the first time, and the only time, and the last time, his Father, who was the Holy One, turned away from his Son and turned away from the sin that covered Jesus on the cross. It is our lies and our hate our envy, our cheating, our stealing. These things, these wrongs, Jesus was wounded for. And he was bruised for our iniquities. And our sin was upon him at the cross. But with his beating and death, our hearts and our sin is covered, and we are healed. And even though it was midday, a darkness soon came down upon the earth, and clouds, dark, billowing clouds, covered the light of the noon sun, and it refused to shine. And the people were afraid, because at that point, the earth began to tremble. The ground under their feet shook, and the rocks fell, and the rocks broke, and all of creation was in the grip of God, who at that moment saw his Son covered in our sin. But it was the only way that God could deliver us without destroying us. Then Jesus shouted out from the cross in a loud voice, "It is finished." And it was. The sky turned dark, darker still. But his friends took him down gently from the cross and carried him into a tomb, a new tomb, and they wrapped his body in cloths and put him in a tomb. And then the soldiers came, because once again, the Roman soldiers were afraid. They were afraid that somebody could come in, or that somebody else, namely Jesus, might get out. And so they rolled a heavy stone across the tomb. And while the disciples wept and waited, sad, there on the Friday of his death, Sunday was coming.